Hello, and welcome to this week's Marketing Mix. Today I have got the wonderful Catherine George with me. She's from, as you can see on the screen, she's from OSO Social Marketing. Hi, Catherine. Catherine is my go-to person when I don't understand social media. Because let's face it, it's complex, it's fast moving, it changes all the time, it's always being updated, there's always new things happening. So she's my kind of go-to for all things social media. Lisa's joined us. Hi, Lisa. So today, Catherine is going to talk us through Instagram hashtags. Now, I've had a couple of requests quite a few requests actually, mostly in my Facebook group, to really get under the skin of Instagram hashtags and what they do and how many you should use and all of that kind of good stuff. And I'm going to hand over to Catherine in a minute to introduce herself. But I have to say, we were chatting just before we got going just now, and Catherine wrote a guest post for me on this, and we both decided that it's probably the most controversial guest post either one of us has had written for them, or written because we've had so many people tell us that what the advice that was in it is wrong. So if you're here to kind of tell us otherwise, we'd love to hear from you. But Catherine is in the know because she's trained by Facebook. So I will hand over to Catherine and let her give her as an intro to her and her business.
Hi. Hi everyone. Thanks, Manel. So my name is Catherine George. I am the founder and director of OSO Social. We are international multi-award winning social media marketing experts. Try saying that after you've had a few drinks. So we are down actually in the sunny Cornwall. We've got summer back, which is great because it's been raining most of August. And I am a social media expert. So within my realms of not only being the director here at OSO Social, I am a Facebook and Instagram She Means Business mentor. So I've been on that program, I think, for about 4 years now. I'm also a Facebook Blueprint lead trainer, and as well have all of my Facebook certifications. So yes, very technical when it comes to Facebook, Instagram, and the whole family of Facebook apps.
Yep, and as I said, my go-to person if I get stuck. If you're watching live, don't forget to ask questions. I've got a few questions that I've got for Catherine, but if anything pops up while we're going, chit-chatting along, put them in the comments, and I will read them out to Catherine, and we'll get your questions answered today. So, first things first, what does a hashtag do?
So a hashtag is just a way to catalog your content. It's that simple. A hashtag is a catalog. What each hashtag does, we know on Instagram, it hyperlinks through to the catalog of content. It's that simple.
And presumably discoverable because people search on hashtags.
Yeah, so within Instagram, people search on hashtags, people follow hashtags, people engage with hashtags. The algorithm pulls things into the most recent and the top feed according to hashtags. So they really are kind of an important part of the Instagram mechanism. What I always find really interesting is, and this isn't about hashtags, but it's just an interesting tip, is everyone on this call right now could look at a specific hashtag and go to the most recent and the top in the world, and we would all see slightly different images, just because everything we see on these networks is biased. So even when we are following a specific hashtag, we will always see content that is designed to appease us and that is designed to be attractive and engaging to us. So that's always something to remember. A hashtag can only carry you so far. The content and the strength of the content is what's really key.
That's interesting. That just made me think of something that my husband and I always talk about content on social media. I'm guessing that if you start following hashtags of topics that you're not interested in, you'll get not interested, but kind of opposite of your values, or because my husband always says, oh, you're on social media, but you're just in an echo chamber. You're talking to other people that think what you think, which is to a certain extent true. So I'm guessing that it could work in the other way as well, is that you could find hashtags that are the opposite of how you think, or the opposite of what you do, and find content that way.
Yeah, of course. So you can use it. Like I said, they are simply a catalogue. So whether you want to find content that you appeal, I mean, I have worked hard to cultivate my Instagram into a travel horse zone. So lots of wanderlust pictures, lots of pictures of fancy horses. I can log in as a client. So say, for example, we look after an EV charging company. It's all very tech heavy, it's very science heavy, it's all very kind of environmental sustainability heavy. For them, it's a perfect place for it to be. For me, actually, that's not why I go to Instagram. I go to Instagram to be inspired. So most of us, just by the nature of using these platforms, cultivate an echo chamber of our Insta lives. So they're full of things that we find attractive and pretty and aspire to travel to or have or own, or with the invention of Reels, things that really entertain us. All of your social media is always biased to you. And that is a big thing to remember across all of the channels.
Cool. So sort of the question that probably caused the most controversy for both of us, how many hashtags should we be using? There's lots of conflicting advice out there.
Yeah. So you should use 30 hashtags on Instagram. So I got so fed up of hearing this advice all of the time, right? So the first time I went to Facebook as a Shumi's business mentor, it was the only question I had. So I sat down with the woman who was training us. I said, what's the deal with hashtags? She said, well, they're just part of the mechanism. That's the way it works. I said, well, how many should we use? She went, as many as you can, looking at me like I was quite strange. I was like, well, why? She went, because it's science. It's an algorithm. It's a mechanism. So let me explain the base algorithm to you. If you post a picture on your Instagram feed, it goes to your Instagram followers. It won't go to all of them. That's not the way these platforms work. There's too much information. There's too much content on them. It gets ranked. It gets ranked by how quickly people engage with you, your content creator score, how regularly people engage with you. There's a whole list, and Instagram make this information public. I'll put the link to the article below at the end of this. What happens is if you don't put any hashtags, that's it. That is as far as that post will go. Of course, some people may reshare it into stories, but it won't go any further across the platform. When we add a hashtag, we are pulling it into all of these different categories. So by using all 30 of our hashtags, we are pulling it into 30 relevant feeds. So therefore, giving yourself 30 more chances of exposure to 30 different audiences. And hopefully you've done your hashtag research, you know what your audience engages with, you know what you should be going for. So what it does is it gives you all of those opportunities to be seen by new people. And some hashtags work better than others. And, you know, you can go into lots of different feeds and still have rubbish content. If your Instagram post is a bit naff, it doesn't matter how many hashtags you use, it's not going to help. If you have an awesome Instagram post and then you use all of your 30 hashtags, you can have massive growth very, very quickly. So it's something that you need to embrace. And all you are really doing is giving yourself the maximum opportunity to get your content seen. Think of it as real estate. That's the way I describe it. So I always think about it as like billboards and posters. If you are advertising your house for sale, you want everyone to know about it. You want to maximize all of those different 30 advertising slots. So why wouldn't you do the same with your organic social media content?
It's an interesting way to think about it in terms of having 30 opportunities to get content in front of your target audience, and the thing that sort of struck me is that it doesn't matter if you use all 30. If your content's rubbish, it's just not going to get the engagement, right? So It's not just relying on the hashtags, but actually having content that your audience and other people like them want to engage with, that means something to them, that they think this is good enough for me to even just the double tap, or one further comment. So it's quite interesting that people get hung up on the number of hashtags, but it's the quality of the content plus the hashtags that's going to be the sort of sweet spot, really.
Yeah, it's the same with all social media marketing. I don't care what platform you're on. If you understand your customer, if you know what you're really selling, if you know what your customer aspires to, and if you know how to create awesome content that connects with them, especially on Instagram, that connects with them and inspires them, your content will do well. All your hashtags are doing is giving you additional chances to be seen. Great content will deliver for you regardless of where it is. It's just on some networks, we need to use technical things to up your chances to be seen more in organic. So
cool. It's one that we talked about, but where should you place your hashtags? Because obviously there's this whole, put it in the first comment versus in the caption. So thank you for that question, Jill. So where are we putting our hashtags?
So this is really interesting. So all of the material I have got as a trainer says put them in the caption. That is what all of our training material says. So therefore I have to say goes in the captions. If you read the Instagram website, it does say buried somewhere, and it took me a long time to find it. It does say they can go within the caption. There is a but here. So the algorithm does seem to monitor in both places. They do seem to work in both places. However, like I said, they're telling us in all of our official trainer material that it's in the caption. They've got to be doing that for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
We've also done a lot of tests on this, an alarming number of tests. When we've placed our hashtags in the caption, our content has done significantly better. There is an element of you doing your post and then commenting below that classes as engagement baiting. Because what you're doing is commenting on your own post.
Yeah.
And as far as the algorithm's concerned, what you're doing is commenting on your post to boost your engagement score. Because everyone knows the more engagement you get, the quicker you get, the further your content gets seen. So there is always that risk of actually, are you, by trying to make your post look pretty with no spammy hashtags, actually cutting your nose off to spite your face?
Yeah.
The other thing I really dislike about them in within the comments, sorry, everything's a bit similar, isn't it, when you're talking about this? Something I dislike when you put them in the comments is there's nothing worse than seeing a post that you find interesting. You go to comment on it, you notice that someone else has already commented, and then you just realize it's fed with hashtags. It's like, oh, I thought someone else was engaging with this.
Yeah.
I thought, there was something to say. So that's always a bit of a double-edged sword. The lead reason for not putting hashtags in your caption that I've heard from anyone is that it looks untidy. That is absolutely ridiculous. Just split them up. So I use little star emojis on mine. So I write my little blurb. Because I tend to write in paragraphs, I use these stars a lot to split up my content. And then I put a star at the end, then I put all of my hashtags at the bottom.
Uh-huh.
People have very much developed hashtag blindness. We don't sit there and criticize what you've written because you may have put hashtag summer day. We know why they're there. We know on Instagram that they're just a part of content creation. So put them in your caption, because that is what all of the advice says to us.
Yeah.
And from all of our own testing, it works significantly better that way.
Yeah. I tend to, I write my caption. I'm going to stop doing this because, I write my caption and then I put full stops. So I put 5 or 6 lines of full stops over the hard return. So it pushes them down a bit so that they're not as visible. But just as we were talking before we came on, I've started now using all 30. So since the back end of last week. So this week is going to be my first full week with using 30 hashtags. But it's a good exercise, actually, because it's really making me think about researching what I should be using and hashtags that I want to represent what I do, but are also discoverable. And it's going to be painful for this first week, but because I talk a lot about email marketing, I'm going to start finding that I'm using the same ones again and again, which means that I'll have a list and I won't have to start thinking about them. So definitely worth doing and worth testing. And I think we were saying before as well that, you know, with anything in marketing, you need to test these things for yourself. Just because, you know, you've said all 30 and someone else has said only 2, like, you know, I feel you're more credible because of all the qualifications you've got, but like, test it. So
yeah. I mean, if you're Kim Kardashian, you probably don't need to use hashtags at all.
No.
If you are a small business who is trying to be seen and trying to grow and trying to use Instagram organically, please use more than 2. You know, even if you just use 15, you know, the more you use, the more it'll help. And I mean, always test new ones. And just remember as well, what you're posting reflects and will change. I mean, if you look at my Instagram, that's a prime example of that. If it's a picture of me, my likes are up 67, 39, 40. If I put something up about work, it's 18, it's 12. So always remember as well, you are dealing with a highly vain platform, a massive vanity platform. And not all of your content will perform as well as the others. That's just life, I'm afraid. But all we're trying to do is maximize the opportunity to succeed.
Yep. Another one that we've talked about, but thank you, Lisa, for putting this in. What's the best way to research the hashtags that you should be using?
So I am a big believer in good old-fashioned hashtag research. So there are apps that you can use. I think Hashify is one, and we've tested a few over the years, but actually we found just going into Instagram and searching has worked better than anything else.
Yeah.
It's always better to do it on your mobile phone. So literally all you need to do is go to Instagram, go to your search bar, and then start searching through tags. And look and see what's working. So first think of what's relevant to your business, because when we are thinking about our hashtags, we always have to think about the rule of thirds anyway. So a third is what you want to be known for, what you want to be found for. A third is about that picture, and then the third is your vanity. So when I am trying to position myself as a female leader, a woman in business, an entrepreneur, I've gone in and I've researched hashtag entrepreneur. What Instagram's then done is given me all of these other lists of hashtags that represent that go, have you also looked at this hashtag? Have you looked at that hashtag? It gives me the opportunity to go into that feed, look and see what's appropriate, see what works well, and then work through from there. It also means I can check the credibility of that hashtag. For 2 reasons. One, you never know when there's guns and porn hiding on Instagram. Hashtag everyday carry is a big one for that, just a forewarning. And then the other thing is as well, and this is one I discovered the other day, I found a new hashtag for social media marketing. It had loads of views, loads of it. I think it was something like 25,000. So not a massive hashtag, but a big one, big enough to consider using. So I checked it and I realized there was no engagement on any of the posts in that feed. So actually, I really quickly discovered that although that hashtag related to my business, obviously everyone using it, it was a dead feed. It was probably just other marketeers. It wasn't my customer. It wasn't anyone that was going to add value. So it's easier to do on a mobile because Instagram is designed on mobile. So if you find one hashtag, what it will do is go, do you know, people who look at Cornwall also look at hashtag Kerno. So that was down in Cornwall, just to forewarn you all. So what it does is it actively prompts you. It goes, these hashtags are great. Have you thought about these ones over here? So it does make it just a little bit easier. Another great thing I like to do for hashtag research is look at what my competitors are doing. Look at what my competitors are doing. Look what my friends are doing. So, you know, me and Chris at Dow Social, he's another social media. I will occasionally look at his hashtags and see what he's up to. It's just about understanding these hashtags more and more. And then I also regularly check what I'm using. So I use hashtag agency life a lot. I was on that feed this morning, and actually that feed is now turned into one that it seems like a lot of agencies are using. but it's now got really low engagement because I can't imagine many people are actively following that. Whereas we were doing this in training this morning, we were training a life coach. The hashtag life coach is getting loads of engagement. So actually, it then took us down this kind of rabbit hole, and we found some really strong hashtags that had really high engagement that were perfect for the client.
Cool.
So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, so Nicola just asked why on a phone and not on a desktop. So hopefully, Nicola, that's answered that question for you. She's also said, can you go over the thirds thing again? And Nicola, what I will do is just put a link to the guest post that Catherine wrote for me, which is, it's got that in quite a lot of detail.
So the rule of thirds. So this used to be the kind of whole of social, was all about the rule of thirds all the time. So a third of your hashtags what you should want to be known for, what you want to be found for. So mine are things like entrepreneur, women in business, girl boss, although actually I'm not a big fan of that hashtag, but that's a whole nother story. Women who lead, social media expert, content creator. These are the core things that I want to be known for, I want to be found for. A third should be anything about the picture that day. So again, if I look at my Instagram at the moment, there's a picture of me out paddleboarding. They normally are. So it's things like hashtag paddle, hashtag paddle life, hashtag sup life, hashtag stand up paddleboard, because what it's doing is it's pulling it into those feeds of people who will find that content relevant. Please don't use hashtag puppy if your picture is of a kitten, because all you're going to do is go into the puppy feed with a picture of a kitten, and that's not going to end very well. What we are doing by adding in this third of hashtags that are relevant to the picture is finding an audience who care about what we're talking about or what we're doing at that moment in time. So they might not be the people who are interested in us all of the time, but right now we could value add or we could inspire them. And then a third are kind of your big hard-hitting vanity hashtags. So some people like to use niche hashtags instead. I've got to be honest, I'm not a big fan of niche hashtags, simply because if there's only 400 people using it, there's probably not many people looking at it, and I feel like it's a wasted opportunity. The only exception is if you know there is a niche hashtag where all of your audience are regularly engaging and updating and monitoring, but they are like unicorns, they're very hard to find. So your big third, you should really go for the kind of hard hitters like Monday motivation, Monday mood, word porn, food porn, Instagram. Instagram's actually quite a big one. It's like Instagrammers, do it for the gram. I once did a post that my boyfriend took a picture and I put hashtag boy did good and it went nuts. Friday thoughts, self-care Sunday, Friday, Catterday, Saturday, weekend vibes, anything like this that trends, because people are going to be engaging with it. It's going to pull you up the feed. And there are so many of these for different sectors. So, there's Wordstagram for writers, there's Wedding Wednesday, there's Travel Tuesday, there's Self-Care Sunday. There is so many different hashtags. So there's no excuse to kind of not find your audience and not find your sector. So that's why it buckles back to being so important, to really knowing and understanding your customers.
Perfect. Nicola's just asked, how do you follow a hashtag?
It's a bit like that today, isn't it?
Yeah.
So all you do is run a search for that hashtag on your desktop, on your phone. So I've just done a super quick one for dogs of Instagram, as you can see there. And what it does is it gives me the big follow button. So all you do is hit follow, and then it will come naturally into your feed. It is literally that simple. I follow like She Beans Business as a hashtag and things like that, and some of them can be great. I also follow Present Wrapping because I'm a little bit of a present wrapper, and I love it. It just brings my kind of nice high quality content into my feed, but as well it's still biased towards me, so it still shows me content within that feed it thinks I'm going to like. Instagram is exceptionally clever. So
fabulous. Nicola, you can catch up. This is going to be on the Facebook page, on my Facebook page right after. But essentially, it's search on your mobile for the hashtag, and a follow button will appear, and you just tap on that button, and you'll be following that hashtag. So, question from me is, how can you tell which hashtags you're using are the most effective?
So there's two ways to do that. One is if you've got software, hopefully it'll tell you. That depends on how good a quality software you've got, really. We use Agora Pulse and it tells us, which is great. The other thing is just do a good old-fashioned test. So I know, for example, if I use hashtag content creator, I get loads of engagement really quickly. It's mainly bots, but I get loads of engagement really quickly. I know if I take that off, that engagement goes away. I know if I add things in like office outfit, of all bizarre things, office outfit, what I wore to work, my engagement shoots up. So a lot of it is just about kind of manually testing and going back and looking at your posts and going, okay, this is what worked, this is what didn't, this could be why, and analysing it like that. So it is normally good old-fashioned testing, I'm afraid.
It's true though, right? So I've already said it once that, something that might work for me might not work for you and vice versa. And we won't know that until we test it. And that marketing is a lot about testing things out to see what works, which is why I talk a lot about the bit that people miss out, which is the actual measurement part of what you've done. Because if you don't do that bit, how are you going to know what works and what doesn't? So, if you're fed up of hearing it from me, Catherine says exactly the same thing. You've got to actually go back and look at what you've done to find out whether it worked or not.
Yeah. And that's why all these platforms give us insights and analytics. So as long as you have a business profile, and please make sure you have a business profile on Instagram, it tells you, just go to your insights and it'll go, this post did better. These are the posts that you were discovered in. These are where new people found you. It actively tells you this. So just go and look. It's right there waiting for you.
Cool. And we've got a little bit of time. I'm just going to go back to a question that Nicola asked, because you mentioned reels. And just in relation to hashtags, one, what is a reel? And two, can you use hashtags on reels?
So you can use hashtags on reels. And I discovered the other day that they don't stop you at 30. I just kept going. And the problem is what can happen on I switch devices. I switch between iPhone and Android. My Android won't stop me, but then when I hit go, it deletes the content. So I got scared and went back to my 30. Reels are short, immersive videos. So they are basically Instagram's answer to TikTok. They are short videos with sound overlay on the top. So you can pick from all the songs within Instagram. They're normally quite big songs, they trend, and they're a great place to sizzle. So I like to call them super immersive videos, and that you can be really emotive. So the music you can use over the top can be so emotive and so engaging, it completely transforms this whole video. The beauty of reels and why they're so important for small businesses at the moment is they don't rank the same way. So they go into explore and goes into the reels feed, and each video is treated in its own merit. So it's not like us at the moment posting on our Instagram feed. When we do a reel, we save it to our grid. Please always save it to your grid. It goes to our followers. But it also gets treated in its own merit. And as more people watch it, more people engage it, Instagram goes, oh, we like this. We're going to show it to more people. So what it does is it literally opens up a whole new world of followers to you. So it is a really easy, simple way to grow on Instagram and to reach new followers who are likely to be interested in what you do. So I love reels. They're really worth testing and playing with at the moment.
And do you have to dance in all of them?
No, please don't dance.
I've seen loads of TikToks. I was like, that's just not me. No. It
really annoys me when you put your TikTok content on Instagram. One, Instagram de-rank it if it's got the TikTok logo, so you're cutting your nose up to spite your face. And two, that's not why people follow you on Instagram. Big thing to remember with all of your content, whether you're on feed, whether you're on reels, whether you're on stories, remember why people follow you on Instagram. Remember what you are selling to them. If they want to see you dance, go and dance with them on TikTok. You doing a funny dance, unless you are a dance teacher, isn't going to get you sales. So that's always something to be aware of.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for today. We've run out of time, but hopefully that's answered your questions about Instagram hashtags. I have put a link in the comments to the guest post that Catherine wrote, and it's got a lot more detail in there about that rule of thirds, which I have started following, and I have already seen an uplift. So go and try it. Research the hashtags. That's next on my list. So I've started making lists of hashtags. Obviously, I'm going to see which ones perform better. You're obviously going to see lots more email marketing hashtags from me because I talk about that a lot. So thank you so much. Rich has just said maybe get your cat to dance instead. I would if
that would do very well, actually. Although my cat would scratch my eyes out for trying. So yeah.
Brilliant. So I'll be back in 2 weeks' time, and I'm going to be talking to Yvonne Gorman from Essential Print Services. Yvonne is a fellow Small Biz 100, and I'm going to be talking to her about how you can get involved in Small Business Saturday, because I think it's just such an important initiative for small businesses. And I'm doing this nice and early so that you can get your head around what you need to do to get involved. So do join me Tuesday, 7th of September. We're heading into September, 7th of September with Yvonne Gorman at 2:00. And we'll be talking about how you can start off your Christmas selling season right with Small Business Saturday. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you, Catherine, for that wealth of information, and I will see you all soon. Bye.
Thank you.